So I'm sitting here in front of my actual first car, not movie magic or anything. This very Spitfire was the first automobile I ever owned. So it started back when I was 10, 11 years old. I'd been driving for a few years at that point. I actually learned to drive in a dune buggy when I was 8 and was actually doing it pretty regularly a couple years later. So it became obvious that I should have my own car to work on, hanging out around the shop and growing up in this family. Obviously, everybody plays with cars, so why wouldn't I? So that kind of begged the question, what would my first car be? And budget was really limited. My parents were willing to spend a couple $100 on a first car for me, not really much more than that. And we kind of just started looking around, I wasn't allowed to use the internet much then, so they were kind of looking around, and two cars kind of fell in our laps. So the first was I'll always remember, it was a brown first generation RX-7 that a friend of a friend of a friend wanted to sell. And I was really into it. I knew RX-7s had a really strong SCCA racing background. Never mind, rotaries are cool. I thought it was a neat shape. I thought it would be a fairly practical first car. But I just, for whatever reason, again, not even a teenager at that point, couldn't make it happen, couldn't get that car to come into my life. But this Triumph Spitfire, actually sold to us by a reader of Classic Motorsports magazine, it was my first car. And my parents went up to North Carolina. Actually, I think my dad and our tech editor at the time went up to North Carolina to this reader's backyard and dug this car out from under a tarp for $200. It was rough. The interior was eaten by rats and roaches and other animals. It had been on fire under the hood, so the paint was all blistered. The rockers were so rusty that you could put your hand in there and kind of feel the inner rocker skin. It didn't run, obviously. It needed everything. And, at the time, it maybe wouldn't even have been a restoration candidate. But the thought was, hey, this kid needs a car to play with. This is a cheap, easy way to get his foot in the door. Let's give it to him and see what happens. And then all of a sudden, I was a 12-year-old with a car, this car. So then we had a couple years of working on it. This wasn't like a mad thrash of 40-hour weeks working on the car or anything, but whenever I was mentally and physically kind of able, again, 12 is a tough age to get any big project done, especially a restoration, I would be in the garage with my dad, with some other friends and helpers. Rennie Bryant comes to mind, Carl Heidemann, David and JG here at the company. Just basically all these mentors and kind of experts would come and help me, the 12-year-old, work on this car. And my dad especially, he did the bulk of the labor on the car. So by the time I was 13 or 14, I had a running, driving, really ugly Spitfire. And then got my permit at 15 and actually started driving it. And then by the time I got my license at 16, this was my daily driver. Again, rattle can paint. It was maybe a 20 or 30 footer. Still had giant rust holes in the rockers. Still leaked oil from everywhere. It didn't really have taillights most of the time, that sort of thing. But it was a car. And like any teenager, the freedom of having a car, especially a cool car, was awesome. I instantly put a stupid exhaust system on it. It still has like the 2.5-inch exhaust with no muffler. It's still really annoying, but hey, when you're in high school, that's what you do to your car. So I absolutely loved it. I was driving 90 miles an hour down the highway to school every single day in this thing. I would put 5 people in it. You put a bunch of friends on the package shelf. I had a trunk rack on the car at the time, so I would pick up materials from Lowe's to build other projects with it. It was awesome. And I can think of a lot better cars to go through high school with. I can't really think of a lot more fun cars to go through high school with. But, high school ends. I went to college, I was living in a dorm. I didn't really have anywhere to keep the Spitfire. I didn't really have the time or money to actually restore it correctly. Again, it had been quickly and cheaply gotten back on the road by a preteen. So then the car's original owner actually reached out. The gentleman who, I think it had been his first car, reached out and said, hey, any interest in selling my Spitfire back? And we talked back and forth a little bit and eventually came to a deal, which was I would restore the car for real with my dad's help and then ship the car back up to him in North Carolina. And that's what I did. I sold the Spitfire. I used the money to help buy my first house, finish up school, that sort of thing. And I thought that my Spitfire was just a phase of my life where, hey, remember that blue Spitfire I had as a first car? Wasn't that fun? Hope the guy's enjoying it. And then a couple years ago, his widow actually called me, said, hey, did you sell my husband a blue Spitfire? And I said yes, and she said, well, he recently passed and said you might want to buy it back. So that's when I found my wife and I driving up 95 to Virginia to go look at the Spitfire. And I didn't really know what to expect. I'd sent a friend to check it out just to confirm the VIN matched my records. I didn't really know exactly what kind of shape the car was in. As it turns out, he had put 40 miles on it since I restored the car. He'd never even transferred the title back to his name. It was still my father's title. So it was really, really cool to get basically my high school car back that I'd restored and then mailed off without any miles put on it. And he had done some minor upgrades here and there. He had disassembled some things. I had to kind of put the car back together once I got it back to Florida. But now I have my first car back, and I've been driving it and enjoying it. And, you know, it's kind of a blessing and a curse because, you know, I have so many good memories of the car. I have, you know, photos from high school of it on these same ugly wheels with the same loud exhaust system that's annoying on long trips. And the question is, do I fix any of that stuff? And so far, I've kind of leaned towards no. I mean, I've had a lot of other projects. I think it's kind of fun to leave this car as it was. I have done a couple things now that I have a little more time and money than I used to. I put an overdrive transmission in it. I put a radio in that wasn't ugly. I had like big 6x9s and speaker boxes on the package shelf and that kind of thing. So I fixed some of that stuff. But generally, it is the same car I had back then. It's an awesome car, ton of fun. I put conies on it, I put lowering springs, it's got a mild cam in it, a twin SUs, a header, you know. I did do some decent hop-up parts to it, but it's never going to be fast, it's never going to be a race car or anything like that. Right now, it's just a really fun kind of time capsule from you know, that first experience I had playing with cars, especially with classic cars, and I'm never going to let it go again. So if you want to learn more about this car, we actually did it as a project car back when I was a teenager. So I'll put a link in the description to its project page on the Classic Motorsports website, complete with 20-year-ago photo resolution. But you can go back and see what we did to the car back in the day. We'll also be doing some more videos on this car in the coming months and years on the Classic Motorsports YouTube channel. Again, this thing is a forever car for me at this point, so it'll be around for a long time. If you like this video and want to see more like it, please make sure you like and subscribe. And until next time, we'll see you in the shop.
Support brands that support Classic Motorsports. Get your chemical solutions from CRC Industries. Visit crcindustries.com to learn more. If you like this video and want to see more, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. And to see more stories like this, visit us online at classicmotorsports.com.